Akshay Tritiya is the day in which SatYug began. And so when we celebrate, it's not that we celebrate a history of, yugas ago, here's an anniversary. But we ask ourselves, how? Even in the midst of the actual time frame of Kali Yuga that we know we're living in the midst of Kali Yuga, how can SatYug take place in us? How, as we celebrate this holiday today, can that era of truth happen within us? And that becomes our opportunity. And what is SatYug? It's the era of truth. But as we talk about so frequently, truth is not just that which is an opposite of a lie. It's not just about, the era in which nobody told a lie. It's an era of truth in word, but also truth in thought, in action, truth in how we live. Because the falsehood that is killing us is not just about, I told a lie here, I told a lie there. It's the falsehood of how we live in separation, in ignorance, in this identification with the physical body, with our roles, with the colors of our skin, with our bank accounts, with our titles, all of that falsehood. And SatYug gives us the opportunity to actually open our hearts to truth. And then we ask ourselves, what is the truth of our heart? And the truth of our heart is love. But not just love that I love when, you were so nice to me, thanks for doing what I wanted today. But just love, because that is the truth of who we are. Because it is that synonym of the divinity of the truth of who we are. Saying the truth of who we are is love, and saying the truth of who we are is divine, and the truth of who we are is consciousness. They're just different ways into the same river of truth. Call it love, call it God, call it consciousness, call it oneness, call it divinity. It's the same river of truth. And so we have this beautiful opportunity today to allow SatYug to happen in our hearts, in our lives. And perhaps it's never been needed more than now in the time of COVID, where we're suffering from a virus that has come out of a world rooted in, based upon, committed to, hooked into the falsehood of separation, the illusion of separation. That somehow we're separate from what happens in meat markets of China. That somehow we're separate from what's happening in cities across the world. That somehow we're separate from Mother Earth, who, wow, amazing, what a coincidence, she's healing when we're locked up. The virus is a manifestation of, a reflection of, the dis-ease of how we were living. the Indian, the Vedic, the Hindu spirituality teaches so clearly that as we are on the inside, so we manifest on the outside. I can't tell you how many times in 25 years I've heard, whether it's Puja Swamiji, whether it's other saints and gurus say, Jaise, beethar, vaise, bahar. As is the inside, so is the outside. And so if we have manifested a virus in the outside, what's going on the inside that's created this? And I don't mean in a lab somewhere, in a conspiracy theory somewhere. I mean on a global level. How did we manifest the disease that we're suffering from today? And when we believe the sages and the saints and the gurus who say, Jaise, beethar, vaise, bahar, as is the inside, so is the outside, we realize, the disease began within. This separation began within. This illness that we are bringing upon Mother Earth and our sisters and brothers began within. Every time we've been able to turn an eye, turn our face away from people suffering, every time we've lived in an illusion of being separate from the earth, we've been part of the co-creation of the virus. And what that means is that now we need to usher in the era of truth. We have this beautiful, beautiful Vedic mantra that says, Asato ma sadgamaya, tamso ma jyotir gamaya, mrityor ma amritam gamaya. And it means, O Lord, lead us from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, from the false identification with that which dies to the real identification with that which doesn't. And on this beautiful day, as we celebrate the time yugas ago when SatYug began, but as more significantly than that, we usher in SatYug within us. We turn back to truth, which means we turn back to love. It means we turn back to oneness. It means we turn back to connection. And it's also the beautiful day. As I said, so much happened this day. I'll just share one other piece. It's also the beautiful day that the Mahabharata war ended. And if you look at wars outside or inside, what causes them? Ignorance, separation. We are different from people of a different country, from people of a different religion, right? Those are who fight wars. This religion on this side, that religion on this side. This country on this side, that country on this side. People with this color skin on this side, that color skin on this side. And so whether we're looking at the war fought on the battleground of Kurukshetra, or we're looking at the war being fought in our own minds, or in our families, or in our communities, the root of them all is the same, ignorance. I identify so strongly as the color of my skin, as my religion, as my race, as my nationality, and I identify as that more than I identify as being human. Because all the wars are humans fighting humans. Which means that I identify as my color or my race or my religion more than I identify as my humanity. What kind of crazy ignorance is that? Really? Are you more white than you are human? Or more black than you are human? And so we re-realize back to the truth, and we allow that war within us to dissipate, that conflict within us that's fighting, of greed, of ego, of lust, of anger, of expectations, of attachments. We know the stuff our inner wars are made of. And no one wins. Because it's all within yourself. And so at this beautiful, beautiful time, allow yourself to let that war end within. Because if you look at the war of Kurukshetra, you look at any war, but let's look at the Mahabharata for a moment. Even though we can say, the good guys won. Dharma won out. There was an extraordinary amount of suffering. No one at the end of that war said, oh yeah, we did it. It was suffering. And it was suffering due to loss of oneness. With them, it was literally one family, one blood family. But when we fight, it's always a loss of our self, whether a piece of our self within us or our self in the being in front of us. There's no winners ever in a war. And so within yourself today, ask yourself, is there any war going on in me? Whether between different aspects of me inside, whether between me and a family member, a friend, an ex-friend, someone where there's a war. No matter how much you think you may have won that war, it means yourself is suffering in some way. So let this be a day where SatYug begins within you, and allow that inner war. Let it end. Let go. Let go of whatever it is that is causing that inside, whether it's the ego, whether it's the attachments, the expectations, the greed, the lust, whatever it is that's speaking in your mind, going, if I just get my way, everything will be perfect. If I just get my way, all will be good. If I just can win this, all will be good. Realize that that voice is the cause of the problem. And allow yourself to let it go. Allow yourself to be free. Allow yourself to drop in to the truth of the SatYug within. That'll be the beautiful, real wealth of the day. It's the day everyone goes out and buys gold, and your own truth, your own opening, that era of SatYug within you, the ending of the conflict within you, it's worth more than anything made of gold or any other metal that you could ever possibly buy. That's the real wealth, that truth. So grab onto that today. Spend some time in meditation, really asking yourself, what's the real inner wealth? Hold on to that. and let go of the rest. Because in order to get to truth, we have to move farther from falsehood. So let go of the falsehood so you can move into truth. Let go of the ignorance so you can move into truth. Let go of the darkness so you can move into light.